Hi, everyone. Homework series again. I have been really enjoying putting these together because it really is an opportunity for me to try to not be caught in the teacher analytical dissection side and to help convey to our clients that it's not what the movement looks like, it's how it feels in your body. I find that to be a very challenging thing with this medium, and there is a look perfect, but what's really the underlying tone of that is the path of movement in your body. That's a feel. So I wanted to kind of share that because it's kind of going in my head as I've spent a lot more today teaching on a line, so a little fuller day. Basically, to our topic, so swan. So I wanted to spend a little time helping our clients with their swans. Swan is an exercise that the main goal is uniform developed strength across the back lines of the body. And so sometimes when I teach this exercise, a client kind of goes, oh, my back, as in like, oh, my back. But the back lines of your body stem from the very, the crown of the skull runs through the back lines of the actual skull against the neck structure, across the two stripes that go down through your back body, across your bum and your seat, upper back of the thigh, through the legs to the feet. So the back lines of the body, okay? So today that's what we're gonna work on for just a short bit of time. These are great little mini bites in your practice, but of course they're isolated exercises. So these are really there for our clients for homework, okay? But it's not a full practice. You'll feel a lot more freedom of movement and a lot more even if we were to do a full class, okay? So I love swans. My body loves swans. Okay, so the first one, we'll try a few out. The first one is like swan preparation in Pilates mat is swan preparation. Okay, so we're gonna want to get the front of our body to work comfortably into the floor, and that means I need to be able to kind of put my sternum down if possible. I do want to be able to get my ribs on the mat nicely, and then my two hip bones, I have evenness, and then the pubic bone is going to touch. I'm going to try my best to get my hip joint in there too, okay? That's a little more trouble for me, but I'm working on it. Work in progress, right? All right. So now just cradle your head a little bit and physically touch the mat with your front body. And then take a second so you actually get really nice and heavy. So I'm pressing into the weight of my bones. I'm gonna need to kind of open my feet just enough because I can feel my hip joints and I can feel the lower part of my pelvis get more rooted if I do that. So I'm gonna get the weight of my bones nice and settled. Ribs, of course. And then chest as available, okay? So now around my midsection, I'm going to deeply connect around the muscles through my trunk. So I'm going to make my waist nice and muscularly supported. So my pelvis feels like it's secure. My hips and my legs and thighs are going to be secure, okay? And then as I start to move my upper body, there's this idea that as I come up, I'm going to need to further move my pelvis to the floor and then away from my head. I'm going to need to take my hips and redistribute them as I am moving. Okay, because an exercise is movement. It's not holding a position and then just like moving parts of you. It's a whole deal. So I do these small lifts of the upper body. I kind of picture a nice flashlight stripping right through the top of my head. And the other part the flashlight would spill into is right around the root of my seat. The flashlights on my seat need to make sure they're going to the floor and against my foot and not to the ceiling. And hopefully that feels pretty good, right? Okay, so we rest. And then it's important to know again, these are like us just working on exercises. So we're going to put little breaks in between things because in a class we would do, 3 types of something, and that would be a whole section, okay? But we wouldn't sit there and beat it to death because your body hates stuff like that. At least my body does. It's like, what are you doing to me? All right, so now come into your same place. This time, bring your arms to the side of you. Make your shoulders nice and even and flatter to the body so they're not forward and they're not pinched tight. They're nice and even. And now start to come up the way you did. Now lightly traction with the arms, but then deliver the hip more to the mat. So you're really taking your back pelvis, right, the sacrum, and you're going to kind of organize all around through that sacrum, and you're going to root your sacrum. You're going to bury the back of the pelvis. You're going to bury it right into that structure and then lightly tugging. Oh, so that feels pretty good. So now I have a much more lifted torso, right? You can see the lower part of my thigh, the hip joint is on the floor, but the top of my pelvis came up because that's okay for me. And then I lower down. Again, focusing on how it feels is important. I feel the front of my body is strong and I don't feel any strain in my back. Right about there, I want to crunch my back, so I'm going to go forward through the chest and deeper underneath the curve of my seat, pulling myself apart 2 directions, forward and up, under the curve of my seat, and then lower down. Good, again. Pulling, rotating my shoulders around my back, under the curve of my seat. If I kind of get that right spot, I feel like I could rock, right? My chest is up, and I'm rocking across my hip. I'm not lifting my back. Yeah, all right, good. Little break there. Good deal. So like I mentioned, we're just taking a little break in your back, right? Not taking a little break in your body because we're, practicing parts of this section. So we saw swan prep, we saw swan progression, working for more range of motion, the height of the body. We saw a little baby rocker, excuse me. So now let's put that together so it's a fuller version of swan, okay? So base of the hip, excuse me, nice and low, shoulders, wings nice and hugged together, right? Remember your shoulders are nice little angel wings. You're gonna get those little angel wings together at your back. Pulling forward and rooting at the same time. Push through the pelvis, pull through the chest. Push through the pelvis, pull through the chest. Now as you lower down, can you lift your arms at some point so you're actually resisting with those actions? Push through the hips, pull through the chest. Ah, yeah, so one more time. Okay. And we come up. Little counter stretch. Flex the waist, keep the shoulders down. See if you can deepen the hips underneath the waistline, right? And just open that mid back a bit. Okay, awesome. So thank you. See if you can kind of, it's nice to take a test. If you were to sit or were you to stand, just take out a second and kind of check and see how your back feels now. My back feels nicely alive. You know, definitely work in progress through my shoulders. Any technician can see that, but they felt pretty good. And I know I'm working in the right way, okay? So if you enjoyed this, please share it with someone who can benefit from it, and make sure you subscribe to our channel so you get little notifications if something new pops up. Thank you. Leslie from the Pilates Center, Pittsburgh.